So thank you for listening, also online.
Yeah.
My talk is a continuation of a talk I gave several years ago, at least before the COVID pandemic. And I thought when thinking about the topic, it's right time to give you an update. Simulating meteorite impacts and outdoor field experience is the title, and this is then part 2. So we also, like you all, do fireball work in the Netherlands, so then for quite a long time. And of course, the idea is then, if you have the fireball, to also recover something. So we had in the past couple of years expedition to recover such remains of a fireball, but without any success so far. And that made us think, how can that be? And if you look at a map of how the Netherlands is, it's a lot of swamp, and but there's also sand and clay and so on. So we thought, can we say a little bit more? We have also to take in our head that we have only 6 recoveries of meteorites in the Netherlands since 1840. There's not a lot of data about that. And the recent ones, they all fell through the roof, so that was an easy catch. So the idea was then, can we simulate an impact? Can we drop a meteorite on the ground? And you maybe remember, yes, you can do that. And the idea was to use a stud gun. It's a small one, and then we start to think a bit, engineer a bit, and at the end build something. And I think you remember this picture because it existed already at that time. And do we have sound? I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, so I confirm here it works. There are no catalysts, and well, we did some measurements, and we could confirm at that time. Yes, we are able to reach the landing velocity of the meteorite, and well, that was okay. That's it. So don't do this at home yourself. You do not need a permit for this, but you easily can kill someone. So then the next thing, we had that thing in our garden for a long time, and we couldn't do anything with it. We were thinking about locations, but because of the pandemic, it was clear there's nothing possible. So it was stopped, and until the time that we could continue. So what we did in the meantime, we created meteorites. So I can also start a business now. This is concrete. We painted it black, and they have to be cylindrical and have a rubber ring around it, otherwise they fit not properly into the tube. And we did, of course, in the garden here and there some tests. And I think we succeeded. It was a byproduct, but it looked pretty nice, like meteorites. So they're not gold, but if you want a very cheap meteorite, you can also need. No, and then we started, to go a bit abroad to find locations where we can do that. And so that is also a little bit part of my talk. We went to libraries, we set up some information. We have a website where you can request for a measurement at your garden. So then we come with our camera tour and that's done. And the only thing which we require is that you make then every month a picture and send it to us so you can follow how the crater of the meteorite is taken by Earth again. And we took that even a bit broader. Here is a public outreach event which happened not so long time ago, and where we pay a lot of attention on meteorites with the public. And here you see research kits. So we have a box with magnifying glass and scale and so on, and with help of an expert. And some instructions and a flow diagram. You are able yourself then as a kid or parent to judge whether a stone which you find is a meteorite or not. And that hopefully triggers them also that you can do some research with us. We got this way hundreds of people and makes it clear. Oh, now you will of course, is there then in this box a real meteorite? Yes, there are 9 fake stones, and one is a real meteorite. And if they realize how old that stone is, and they have really found the right one, there's of course a lot of fun. So we do more at these events. So we give lectures for visitors. This is in the Natural Historic Museum. And then we have also someone with us all the time who is able to make these thin sections of meteorites, and you can look into meteorites, which is also very fascinating to see. We listen to live radio meteors, do workshops with micrometeorite, which you find on the, you have them all at the roof of your house. And this way we try to create awareness for the beautiful hobby which we do, and we even get new members because of this in our small society. So for the smallest kids, we make this color prints, and that is always a huge success. It's amazing how many small kids try to copy them as precisely as they can. Yeah, and then I like to highlight something very special which happened last weekend. It was for us as Meteor community also great. In the center of the city of Leiden, they did an experiment or a big thing that they switched all the lights off. So and there were signs on the street days before, don't get scared, the lights are switched off and you can see stars. And all the bus lines were redirected. It was completely dark. Security people were on all the corners, and there were about 15 spots in town where you could look with experts to the stars. And I meant with my team one of them. And of course, we did not have a telescope, but we only looked at counting fields and radiance and all these kinds of things. And it was insane. And at some point, people from the entire city came to our spots and asking for Felix, because that was the guy who had a real meteorite which they could hold in their hands. Hundreds of people coming to do that. So, Emo, be prepared for new members. All right, so back to the topic. So we go to schools. This is in a high school where we set up the experiments, and together with students we do them something. So they get some elementary physics to calculate the speed and the pressure needed in such a tube. And then they can say something, the mass in relation to the velocity, and with help of the ablation and dark flight calculator, which we programmed a while ago, we can also estimate then what the pressure in the cannon should be to reach the needed velocity. And then they can also measure the velocity from so this is still in my garden, but they can measure the velocity that comes out is an iPhone in a high speed mode, and compare the measurements with the theory. Now here you see set up at the old observatory in Leiden. Of course, we have to determine the mass before we shoot it, and then the cannon is set up and shoot it vertically in the ground. Upwards is even more spectacular, but of course, for safety reasons, we cannot do that. And then here we have reached the newspaper with this experiment. Killed it. The worm did survive the impact. Yeah, and then so this is a slow motion movie from such thing. So just wait. I see. Is it already or not? Yeah, it is. So just. You see now goes down. So this is pretty loose ground. There's a lot of turf and wooden particles on it, but it explains that a lot of stuff goes up. But then you see a little crater. Judge yourself. So these are the first results. So that is it's 250 gram meteorite that you see here, and there's a little dip in the ground, so it's not much. And then you can follow it, well, 25th September was last week. There's nothing to see anymore. I think so. Half July is the last moment in time that you are still able to recognize that there is something in the ground. And that tells you then something about the speed that you have to do your recovery work. Here another one. So that's what we do normally. We put a little fence around it and a sign with the QR codes that you can make pictures and send it to us. And yeah, then the next step what we do, that's still in the starting phase. We take all kinds of pictures. And we like to do, of course, lots of this experience with different types of soils and different weather conditions, seasons, and so on. Then together with Sebastiaan, the vet from the TU Delft, we make 3D pictures. He does that too for meteorites, but we do that and also for these little craters, and then we can say a little bit more on how the evolution is. And well, here you should see the first result of that. So that is the status of the experiment. We like, yeah, I like also to go to school entire Europe, but I think we cannot afford that. So we focus for the moment just in the Netherlands. So that is the status of the project. As a side project, I like to state here that is super important, not only to look at ourselves, but also at our community. I think this task to tell to the community the beauty of the work we do. And I selected this picture as my last one, a little boy holding a real meteorite in his hand. He doesn't know yet, but he thinks this is the real one of the 10 stones. Let's hope that he comes in 10 years, becomes a metal. I know.